Hi, my name is Fernando and I'm a sports nutritionist. A lot of times, we want people to change the way they eat. And everyone knows that, changing the way they eat a diet, both in sports and even a normal person, is really difficult. And I believe communication is a key essential tool to making people understand, maybe say, let's the importance of an apple, or the detriment of having too much of aloe vera juice. Now all of this can be spoken to an audience, but I believe communication is so important in terms of your brand, the way it is and all, how your communication material is made, how your website looks, what are your logos and stuff like that. So I'm a huge believer in having a great brand, and you've seen me in Core Nutrition in terms of the brand that I've created. Now, I recently decided to launch my own supplement range called Ryan's Research, and the idea and the thought process and the logo and everything was in my head, and I said, let me go hunting for a great design agency. So some of the parameters that I use when looking for a good design agency is the first thing is, who are the persons or people running that place? That's most important, because about 20-30 agencies I've interviewed, you always get account executives talking to you. Now, an accounts executive does not understand the creativity of your vision. So when the accounts executive talks to the creative person, sometimes there's a mismatch, and then the creative guy comes and meets you, and then the creative guy goes away, and then the accounts guy comes back, and it gets very muddled. So because I'm an entrepreneur, startup basis, I like to work with people who get their hands dirty, who roll up their sleeves. I roll up the sleeves. When I was doing my book with our little studio, I basically rolled up my sleeves and did a lot of the work in terms of making it and saying what I want. And from our little studio, it was basically Disha who started ideating and being creative about the whole thing. But sorry, I've deviated and come back again. So choosing an agency is people. So I picked up the phone, talked to people and said, why don't you pitch to me? And people are very enthusiastic to pitch to you. That's there because they want your business. But what I look for is, I have a very secret thing that I do is I delay a lot. I poke people, I say yes, I'm interested, but I'm not interested, and I see patience. So beyond people, I look for patience. So you got to look for an agency that has patience with you, because if you are the entrepreneur, you need to understand, does that agency have patience with you? So I remember there was this one agency in my city, Bangalore, and the lady kept saying, I have only so much of time. You have to give me the thing in so much of time. I can't work with you beyond that. And I'm like, that doesn't work. I'm coming to a vendor, I'm coming to an agency, I'm asking you to build something for me. Okay, so if I'm building a house tomorrow, I will give you the money, yes. But as a contractor, you can't put a gun through my throat and say, you can move into this house only at this time. I'm giving you the money, so I'm telling you when I want it. So that's another aspect, to look at people's timelines. So when you're working with an agency, look at their timelines, ask who you're going to be working with, interview the person that you're going to work with, talk with them, see what the past work was done. So when I started looking at all of these agencies, this is small our little studio, and it's not small in terms of our little studio, but it's quite grandeur in terms of the ideas which I saw which were executed. So I liked the work that they did, and then I picked up the phone and I talked to Ankit, and Ankit seemed like a jovial guy, and he talked like, we want to work with you. Now that's a statement that I like, when somebody says we want to work with you. So we picked up the phone again and then got onto a Skype call and everything, and it's like there was a chemistry. And then when I came to my Delhi clinic, we sat down in a meeting, and I met Ankit and I met Disha. Now, this is where I didn't allow Ankit to talk too much, and I wanted Disha to talk, because I wanted to see what the creative person would communicate. And that was very important for me, because it's the creative person who translates my vision. So when I tell somebody I need a book to be in a certain way, okay, I want them to take my flavor. It's like creating a dish. I want a dish and I want my flavor, but that person becomes the chef for me. But that person is so creative that they take my dish to the next level. A lot of times what people do is they scrub out your dish and say, no, don't do it that way. You do it this way. And then you're thinking, okay, maybe we should go in that direction. So maybe you should always find people who kind of, if you're a very strong-headed personality, go with people that will toe your line and toe your vision. But if you're just looking for some sticker design and stuff like that, don't work with our little studio. they are not the right guys for you for simple stuff like card design karne ka, ye karne ka, wo karne ka. If you're looking for creativity, I think there's a lot of chemistry that comes out on the thinking. So that's where I would go with choosing our little studio. I've had some wonderful design work. I remember giving them the brief for Ryan Fernando, and I did this thing which I said, I want to do something completely different. What was different? There's Ryan Fernando and there's Ryan Research. I wanted to combine both. And they're like, but that's not possible. And I said, no, make it happen. And I liked the fact that they made it happen by combining logos, and I gave them briefs of how I like Roger Federer's logo, and I like the Formula One logo, and I like this logo, and I like that logo, and I literally confused them, but they crystallized all of my confusion into something that's really great. And you know, that's my logo over here, which I'm like super stoked about. I really like it, and for me it looks like a plant, and that reflects nutrition. So they took all of those concepts, creatively designed it, and you know, one thing is, when you have extremely creative people, they're also very rigid. So when you work with them, you want to find a person who's willing to work with you, not based on their creative rigidity, but their creative flow, saying that, you know what, I like what you're saying as my client, but let me show you a different river that I can have. Vis-a-vis telling your client, hey, no, I don't like what you're saying. So I worked with a lot of agencies in my life, both when I was an employed and created various brands, and Disha and Ankit have done a great job so far. Let's see, I'm putting them on the spot to create much more for me, and I wish them all the best in whatever they're doing. I think they're a great agency, and I hope this video at some point doesn't get them too many customers, because they may go away from me.